What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Amanda. So today I decided to do another sit down video. This time I'm going to be doing 21 things I learned at 21 during 2020. So this year has been pretty crazy. I feel like there's a lot of lessons to be learned throughout this year. And recently I saw a video that Sam Golbach from Sam Golbach posted, and it was just talking about the things that he had learned, the life lessons he'd learned over this year. And I thought it was a really cool kind of video. And I was like, wow, this is actually really interesting to think about. Like, you learn so much throughout the year, but you kind of forget that you've learned those things. You kind of just learn it, you take it, and you move on with it. And I was like, it's actually really interesting to actually sit down for a minute and just reflect on all those things that you've learned and how it's kind of changed you and made you mature in a different way. So I thought I would sit down and share 21 things that I've learned throughout this year with you guys. I'm going to leave the link for his video down below in the description, and you guys can go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a really awesome video and you probably will learn a lot. So now, on to my video. Alright guys, so point number 1 is life is unexpected. And I know you're probably thinking, girl, we already knew life is unexpected. And I mean, you're not wrong, but I think this year that point kind of hits a little harder. There's been a lot of ups and downs. It's been an emotional roller coaster for me, but I'm sure for the rest of you as well. So this year, one of the things that hit me the hardest was just the passing of Corey LeBerry. And I'm not friends with him, I don't know him on a personal level, but he is one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. So when he passed away earlier this year, that hit me really hard. And he runs a joint channel with Crawford Collins, who's also from Calgary, so shout out to Crawford, not like he'll ever see this. Yeah, his passing just hit a lot of us really hard, and I think it was just because of the way he lived his life. He was so full of joy, and he was always willing to take a risk and live his life full of oh wells rather than what ifs, which is point number 2.
I want my life to be full of oh wells instead of what ifs. So instead of like if I talk to that girl, like what if I talk to that girl?
Yeah.
Oh well, I talked to that girl, she didn't like me, oh well.
Yeah.
I want my life to be full of that.
Whoa, that's good,
Like,
man. Everyone watching.
Yeah, going up to people and be like, I did it didn't work out, but instead of wondering what might have happened, I know what happened.
Dude, I like
don't know
that.
how long I'm here for. I'm just gonna make the best of it.
I already knew I was an overthinker. Like, I'll overthink everything from a text I sent to someone to an outfit choice. There's not a single thing I will not overthink at some point in my life. So this point kind of hit home, and it made me really think, and I was like, wow, maybe I want to live like Corey. I want to live with oh wells, taking risks, and knowing that if that doesn't work out, it's okay. You know, life's not perfect, we're not perfect, we're not expected to be perfect, and that's okay. It's okay to go and try things that you want to try and fail, you know, go ask out that person, go take a risk, do it, and go into it with the mindset knowing if this doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. We can always fail and keep trying and come back. And you know, oh wells are kind of, it's a cool thing, you know, like we don't always have to be in the mindset that perfection is key, because it's great when things work out, but it's not the end of the world when they don't. So point number 3 is appreciate what you have when you have it. It's one of those points that I think doesn't really hit hard until you go through something and you lose something. Again, through the loss of Corey LeBerry, it kind of made me realize he was really young when he passed, and it made me realize that at any moment we can be taken from this world, or we could lose someone who we love. And I think that kind of hit me hard, and it was a scary reality for me. You don't know what life is going to give you, and I think that's one of the important things in life, is to really just know it's about what we have right now in the moment. There are so many things that we are so blessed to have in our life right now that I think we overlook. There's no harm in setting goals and working hard for your future, but what's the point in working for your future if you're not taking time to enjoy what you have in the moment? Number 4 is step out of your comfort zone and go do some exploring. And by exploring, I don't necessarily mean physically go out and explore like abandoned places like Sam and Colby. Yes, I've been watching them a lot lately. But no, I'm talking about just exploring hobbies and interests of your own. I think this year has given us a lot of time to really reflect on who we are, who we want to be, and what we like. So for me, one of the things that I've been doing a lot this year, especially during quarantine, has been digital art. So before this all started, I was determined that I sucked at drawing and I sucked at art. Which, I mean, not necessarily untrue, but I think the thing that has really pushed me to actually try things out is I've always been really interested in digital art and just seeing people do it, but I was determined that I could never do it. So during quarantine, I decided, you know what, I have a lot of time, there's no harm in trying, so I did it. And now it's quickly become one of my favorite things to do. It's like a passion of mine. I even drew some of my friends and got their reactions, so if you want to go see that, I will link the video down below. This is the moment, you know, do it now, because you never know what's going to come out of life. And maybe you're thinking, oh, next year I'll have more time, but you don't know what next year brings. Maybe this is the year and this is the moment to pursue that. So coming off of number 4, we have number 5, which is don't let fear control you, but let it motivate you. And I know that's like something that everyone tells you, like, oh, don't be so scared, you'll be fine, let it motivate you, all of that stuff, but it's really true. I think this year I've learned more than anything that stepping out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself into something you're kind of scared of doing isn't the worst thing. So this year, everyone's kind of been obsessed with Julie and the Phantoms, and I mean, I have totally been obsessed with it, and through that, I've actually met a lot of my new friends who are slowly becoming some of my closest friends. So after I watched the show, I decided to make a TikTok, which is totally not like me. Like, I don't do well with strangers, and I feel like I'm really awkward. So for me to actually push myself and be like, I'm gonna make a TikTok and try to make a group chat with people was crazy for me, and I honestly didn't think it was gonna work. I was like, watch, like no one's gonna wanna be in a group chat with me, like they don't care. And then before I knew it, I had hundreds of comments on that TikTok, and through the group chat I've made some of my closest friends, and I talk to those girls every single day. Like, there's not a single day where I'm not talking to them. We'll like not talk for a couple hours and we'll already be like, I miss you. Like, I swear we're too attached too soon. Like, it's probably really bad, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm glad I have them in my life. I think this is one that I've not really just been learning throughout this year, but it's kind of been something I've been learning over the years. But I've been learning that saying no is sometimes necessary. And I know what you're thinking, like, well, obviously saying no is necessary, but like, I'm not talking about your little things if someone's like, hey, do you want to go do this illegal thing? Obviously the answer's no, right? I'm talking about, like, if people ask you, hey, do you want to volunteer for this, or can you help me out with this? And of course you don't want to say no all the time and seem like you're rude or you just don't care, but at the same time, sometimes saying no and setting boundaries is necessary. I find it really hard to say no to people unless I have a really good justification for why. I think over the past few years, I've learned that there's a difference between saying no and just kind of being like rude or just kind of being like a no type of person versus being someone who knows their limits and is allowing themselves to get that rest that they need so that they can continue to help others. Effort is key to building and keeping friendships. Something I've learned this year is I've built such stronger friendships with certain people in my life just because we've made that intentional effort. Do what makes you happy and prioritize the things and people that make you happy. Life is about experiences and moments that you spend with other people. It's not just about making the most money or getting the fanciest home or anything like that. Like, for me, I could be living in the tiniest apartment in the world, but if I'm surrounded by loved ones and I get to make memories with them, that's all I can ask for. I would rather live a life of love and happiness than being stressed out all the time but having the biggest mansion in the world. It's just not worth it for me. This one is just remembering that everyone is running their own race. And I know it sounds cheesy. It really does, but it's true. Like, you're not going to be running the same race as your best friend, the person who lives next to you, your sibling. Even if you have a twin, you guys are not going to be running the same race. Everyone has their own lives, everyone has their own struggles, everyone has their own joys and achievements. And I think that's something that I have to remember, is that just because someone else is achieving things faster than you are, getting more recognition on the same things you're doing, it doesn't mean that what you're doing is any less important, any less amazing. It just means that's what it is, you know? Not everyone's gonna get praised for the same things or reach achievements at the same time. It's all about running your race, focusing on what you're doing and knowing that what you're doing is good enough. And coming off of that one is feelings aren't bad. I feel like it's really easy for people to say, oh, that person's crazy, they're like super emotional. And I mean, is it really bad to have feelings like that? Like, I'm a really emotional person. Ask any one of my friends and you'll know I'm an easy crier. I am super sensitive and like I just don't do well with conflict. Like, honestly, if you ask any of them, they will attest to this. Like, I'm super emotional. But I think over this year I've learned that it's not a bad thing. Like, being emotional and having feelings is not negative. Number 11. You can't control everything in your life, but you can control how and what affects you. There have been moments where I've been affected and I've been angry, upset, irritated, whatever it is about a certain situation, but I'm also sitting here knowing I don't have to let this affect me, but also still struggling with the fact that it does affect me. And I think I've learned that it's not about completely ignoring it and being like, oh, just this is gonna go away. But I think it's more of realizing why this affects you and working on changing your mindset so that you know that it's not all gonna be bad. So this one's number 12, which is don't take life so seriously. So I'm such an overthinker that I take everything so seriously because I'm always like, oh, is this like, do I want to post this? Am I going to get judged for this? All of that. And I think throughout this year, I've kind of learned that it's okay to make fun of yourself and it's okay to be silly and show that side of you and not fear about what people are going to think. This year, I've learned from a lot of my favorite YouTubers. Honestly, it's like the entire C4 house and that whole friend group and like Sam and Colby and like that friend group, like the Trap House, all of them honestly have taught me so much this year. Like, I've been binge watching all of their content this year and it's just really taught me that you can be yourself and you can be silly and it's okay, and that's what life is for. Life is about having those wonderful moments where you're doing something dumb, you're laughing with your friends, whatever it is. Like, you don't have to be perfect, and being perfect is probably worse than just being yourself, being broken, whatever it is. So this year I've discovered screen time. So screen time, if you don't know, on your phone, it just pretty much tracks how much time you're spending on your phone, what apps you're using the most, like how much time you're spending on them and all of that stuff. So this year I've discovered that and realized my screen time is high. I'm not even kidding. It is ridiculous how much time I'm spending on my phone. And so this year I've learned that you gotta take a step back and really live in the world and not live in the world through social media and through your phone. Tying kind of into that and some of the other things I've said before, this one is just giving yourself a break. I think it's so easy to judge yourself and be critical of your own actions, thoughts, words, achievements, lack of achievements, whatever it is. You know, like, if you wouldn't say that to your friend, why are you saying that to yourself? Like, yes, I may not be where I thought I would be at this time, but maybe that's all part of the plan for my life. You know, not everything is going to work out like you expected, or it's going to happen when you think it will, and that's okay. It's okay to give yourself a break, just because I know that I'm doing what I can, and I know that I'm doing my best. And I think that's what matters, is if you're giving your effort, your time, your energy, whatever, you're doing the best that you can, and you're not getting results, maybe that's not on you. Maybe it's just not the right timing, but that doesn't mean to give up. It just means acknowledge that things will happen when they happen, and as long as you keep trying and you keep putting effort into it, that's all you can do. And tying into that is trust God and trust His process. So I am Christian. I've grown up Christian. I've been attending the same church since I started going to a church, which was pretty much like around preschool, kindergarten time. And over the past few years, this is something that I've really been working on, is just trusting God's timing and knowing that just because something doesn't happen when you expect it to, doesn't mean it can never happen. Or just because He says no doesn't mean he's mad at you or He's shutting you down or whatever. It just means He has better plans for you that you may not even be able to comprehend, come up with, or think of on your own. Alright, so number 16 and number 17 kind of tie together. Something that I've just been kind of working on and realizing is just happiness doesn't always come from these like big achievements that we always picture, or like these big like moments, right? So I think a lot of times we tie happiness in with things like getting in a relationship or moving somewhere or like getting a job promotion, all of these things, and those are great, but I think it's also important to remember that happiness isn't always about those big things. Sometimes we can just be sitting on the phone having a good conversation with a friend, and that's happiness. It's really easy for us to forget about these little moments and these little things. On to 17, which kind of ties in a bit, but being single is okay. Like in movies and like pop culture, all that stuff, everything is about a relationship. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge romantic. Like I want a relationship, I'm ready for a relationship. If God gives me a boyfriend tomorrow, I'm not complaining, okay? But being single is okay too. Every phase of your life comes with its pros and cons. You have to enjoy what phase you're in. We have to remember that there are pros and cons for every phase of life. Number 18 is people come into your life for different reasons, and not all of them will be easy. Sometimes people come into your life to teach you a lesson, and sometimes those lessons are not easy lessons. If you don't have the bad things, you can't have the good things. You know, there's no light without darkness. There's no happiness without sadness. It all balances out, and I think that's a really key thing to remember. Kind of taking off of that one is you won't get along with everyone that you meet, and that's okay. There are genuinely just some people you don't get along with, and that's not a bad thing. You know, you gave it your shot, it just doesn't click. Alright, so this one is number 20, and this one, it's something that obviously I've known, but I think Elton Cassidy says it the best in his song.
Not every day is gonna be a good day. Not everything is gonna go your way. It's all about the way you think. Rise from your past, don't sink. Not every day is gonna be a good day. Not everything is gonna go your way. It's all about the way you think. Rise from your past, don't sink.
So like you said, not every day is gonna be a good day, and I think it's one of those things that we all know, but we have to be reminded of, is just knowing that we're gonna have bad days, and it's okay to have those bad days. Not every day is gonna be a good day, and sometimes we have to go through those bad days in order to truly appreciate the good ones. And I think that's like a really important thing to remember, is just, again, we're allowed to not be okay. You know, you don't have to be happy and enjoying life all the time. Alright guys, so we finally reached 21! So thank you for sticking around if you stuck around this long. 21 is something that I learned from Sam Golbach during his video, and it was just that you don't have to earn love, and love isn't a transaction. I think it's really easy for us to think that, oh, if I look a certain way or if I do certain things, act a certain way, it'll get people to like me and love me. And I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, but at the same time you shouldn't have to. And I think that was something that really hit me hard when he was talking about it, because I mean, it hit him hard when he learned that lesson, and I think it just hit me hard because I'm like, you know what, that's so true. There's only one me, and at the end of the day, the people who love you and care about you will love and care about you for who you are and not for the person you're trying to be. I think one of the most beautiful things about love, whether it's a romantic love or, you know, like a love of your friends, family, whatever, I think one of the best parts about that is the ability to be yourself. And I think that's why it's so important to find people who won't judge you for being yourself, but instead encourage it and embrace it. Alright, so the lighting has changed throughout this video because I'm using natural lighting from my window, so as the sun moves, the light has been changing. So hopefully you guys don't hate me too much for that, but I just want to thank you if you stuck around to the end of this video, because this video is something that means a lot to me, and I think it was just a really cool idea to kind of be able to reflect on everything that this year has brought me. Like, it's insane, and to just sit back and reflect on all the things that I've learned over this past year is kind of crazy, because I actually had to take stuff out. Like, and when I first thought of this, I was like, man, coming up with 21 ideas, or like 21 lessons that I've learned this year is going to be so hard to do. And then I ended up going way past 21 and being like, can I put some of these together? Can I cut some of these out? And it's just kind of crazy how much you learn in a year and you don't even really know that you've learned it. But if you stuck around this long, just know that I really appreciate you, and I'm so thankful that you've watched this this whole video. and maybe you've learned some lessons with me. I'm gonna wrap up this video now, so thank you for sticking around. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm not sure when I'll be posting because I don't post very consistently. It's just kind of when I feel like I have something to post. But I think my next video is going to be coming out before the end of the year, sometime in December, and it's just gonna be talking about music, because I make a playlist every year where I add a song every single day of the year that kind of is just one I've been really vibing with that day, or a song that came out, or something that just kind of means something to me that day. So I think I'm going to be going through that playlist. Obviously not going through the whole thing because that's too long, but I'm probably just going to go through it and pick out some of the best ones for you guys. So yeah, stick around for that. Like, share, subscribe, all your standard YouTuber stuff. But yeah, have a good day, and remember, not every day is going to be a good day, but that's okay.
Not every day is gonna be a good day. Not everything is gonna go your way. It's all about the way you think. Rise from your past.